The wedding planner's voice trembled. Hi, I just wanted to double check something, she began. Your family requested that you be removed from the guest list, but they want to keep the $50,000 deposit you already paid. I didn't flinch. I smiled softly and said, almost whispering, actually, cancel the whole event. There was a pause. But, ma'am, you're not the bride, she stammered. I let the silence hang a moment longer. No, I said, but I own the venue, the catering company, and the hotel where your guests booked. My name is Tessa Monroe, I continued, and if you think you know how this story ends, stay tuned. Because what happens when loyalty becomes your weakness and silence turns into your weapon? Truth be told, I wasn't supposed to hear any of this. I wasn't meant to get that call. They assumed I'd just pay and disappear, like I always did. But something in her voice told me this time they'd gone too far. I pulled up the contract. Every signature, every clause. I had the power to erase everything with one single email. And yet, I didn't hit send. Not yet. Instead, I let myself sink into the memories. Growing up as the responsible one, the peacekeeper, the sister who wrote the checks, the one who helped pay the down payment on Dad's house only to sleep on the couch when I visited. I remember my brother's engagement, the tears of joy from Mom, the upgraded ring I paid for because he couldn't afford the one she deserved. And now they were trying to erase me from the guest list while expecting me to fund the fairy tale. Not this time. This wasn't about $50,000. It was about dignity. Mine. Finally, I leaned back, opened a new tab, and typed 6 words in the subject line. Event cancellation. Full authority confirmed. Tessa, sometimes revenge isn't about fireworks. Sometimes it's just fine print. By 6:09 p.m., the cancellation went through. By 6:17, my phone erupted. Missed calls, voicemails, a text from Mom. What the hell did you just do? I didn't respond. Not yet. I just watched the chaos unfold in the group chat. They canceled the venue, my brother typed. Is this a joke? My sister-in-law-to-be demanded. Mom stayed silent, probably already reshaping the story in her head. Let me rewind. 3 months ago, they'd asked me to help cover deposits for the dream venue. I paid quietly as always. Never once invited to tastings, fittings, or rehearsals. When I asked, Mom brushed me off. You work too much. Let the kids have their day. Their fantasy, funded by me. I played my part. Quiet, generous, dependable, until brunch. That's when I overheard it. She's not coming, right? It's not her day. She's always so serious, my future sister-in-law laughed. Mom added casually, Tessa doesn't need a seat. She's just the wallet. That wasn't a crack. It was a clean, sharp snap. And now, the wedding planner confirmed my worst fear. They hadn't just forgotten me, they'd erased me. But I wasn't gone. Every contract bore my signature. Every receipt had my name. They thought they were using me, but I had built the very table they were about to sit at. So I flipped the script. No anger, no announcements, just silence. And a chain reaction they never anticipated. And that was only the beginning. They had no idea how much more I actually controlled. The next day, my brother tried damage control. 6 calls. No voicemail, just silence, hoping maybe I'd crack and call back. Eventually, a message came. Tess, we love you. Please don't ruin this wedding. It means so much to us. I sipped coffee on my balcony, watching the gray sky. Please don't ruin it. As if I hadn't already poured $50,000 into a dream I wasn't invited to. As if they hadn't erased me. It wasn't just the wedding. It was every birthday I planned, every emergency I covered, every time they whispered, "You're so dramatic." No, I wasn't going to ruin it. They already had. What they didn't know. The venue wasn't all I owned. The catering company, mine. I'd quietly bought a controlling share 2 years ago. The hotel? My name wasn't on the lobby, but the contract was under Tessa M. Holdings. So when her family arrived expecting rooms, the front desk politely said, "Unfortunately, the booking has been canceled." Chaos erupted. Where are we staying? Why is the shuttle gone? Dinner canceled? I watched like a director, silently. Some lessons aren't taught through fights, they're taught through absence. Absence of comfort. absence of control, absence of the person you thought you could step on, who finally stepped away. By nightfall, one last call came. Mom, Tessa, you've made your point. Put it back now. I paused. No, you removed me from the guest list. I'm just respecting your wishes. Then I hung up. No tears, no trembling. Sometimes the purest revenge is simply removing the floor beneath their entitlement. The wedding was in 3 days, and now there was no wedding. Venue gone, catering canceled, hotel block erased, vendors backing out, and still no one admitted the truth. They'd cut the one who paid for it. They didn't face the truth. Instead, they spun tales. My brother told his fiancée's parents it was a system glitch. My mother blamed the planner, calling her incompetent. And my sister-in-law, she shared a tiny, melancholy selfie with the caption, "Pray for us." People don't want to see us happy. I nearly choked on my tea. Because if there's one thing narcissists despise more than responsibility, it's reflection. And that's all I had done, simply held up a mirror. But here's what they didn't see coming. The money wasn't the only thing I owned. The power was mine, too. I had amassed it quietly, over years of being overlooked. While they mocked me for working too hard, I was quietly buying the very foundations they walked on. The banquet hall where my brother proposed. I own 40% of the property it sits on. The restaurant they picked for their engagement dinner, managed by a chain I had invested in months ago. Every time they treated me like a walking ATM, I quietly bought another piece of their fantasy. And now that fantasy was gone. That night, Grandma called, the one of the few still on my side. "You okay, baby?" she asked. I smiled softly. "Yeah, just breathing differently." She paused, then said, "You gave them too many chances. But this is the first time you gave yourself one." Her words hit harder than anything. She was right. I had spent years bending over backward, trying to earn a seat at a table I built. Now, I was flipping the table, and I felt no guilt. By morning, the knock came, not a metaphorical one, but real. My brother, standing at my door in a wrinkled suit, tie missing, sweat on his brow like guilt was finally leaking out. I didn't answer immediately. Let him linger. Let him feel the weight of being unwanted. When I finally did, he rushed his words. "Tessa, look, none of this was supposed to go this far. I didn't even know they took you off the list until the planner called. Lies. Clumsy ones. You didn't know." I asked softly. He looked down like a child caught cheating. I thought no one would notice. Then the excuse they always fall back on. "You know how Mom is." I let out a dry laugh. "I do. And you've used that excuse for 30 years. He stepped forward, maybe to cross the threshold. I didn't move. "You canceled everything," he said, quieter now. People flew in. Her family's furious. We're being humiliated. I leaned on the doorframe. "You mean I stopped funding the performance?" He didn't answer. So I continued for him. "You let them erase me. After everything I've done for this family, you just watched them call me a wallet with legs. And you said nothing." "Tess, I was trying to keep the peace," he replied. "No," I interrupted. "You were trying to keep the fantasy." He exhaled. "So what now? Is this revenge?" I shook my head. "No, this isn't revenge. This is math." I subtracted myself. And with that, I closed the door, not slammed, just closed. Later that day, I got a DM from one of his fiancée's cousins. "Hey, just wanted to say what you did was badass. They treat you like nothing." I saw it. Sometimes, strangers see truths that family refuses to admit. For the first time in years, I didn't feel crazy. I felt calm. The wedding was officially off. Invitations tossed. The florist refused a refund, claiming the bride was rude. Karma doesn't need a calendar, it just arrives. I spent the weekend in my quiet apartment, watered my plants, played the records Mom always skipped when guests came over, the ones she called too emotional. It felt fitting. Then came a text from Dad. "You've made your point. Now fix it before this family falls apart." Falls apart? As if it hadn't been crumbling for years. I didn't reply. They wanted a savior, not a sister. Someone to clean the mess while blaming the shattered pieces on the one who refused to stay silent. I was done playing that role. But I wasn't done yet. One final string remained, the ring. The one I paid to upgrade, a $12,500 diamond my brother insisted on, claiming he'd pay me back after the honeymoon. He never did. Technically, it was still mine, receipt, appraisal, all in my name. I called the jeweler. Has it been altered? Nope, she said. Still untouched. Can you reclaim it? I can, I said. Reset it smaller, simpler. For me. Because from now on, I only wear what I truly own, not what was taken from my silence. That afternoon, I picked it up, a small, subtle diamond on a gold band. Its story was mine alone. That night, one last group message came in. We're rescheduling the wedding in 6 months. Hope you'll be there. My reply, just a photo. The new ring on my finger. Caption, finally married to the only person who ever showed up for me myself. By Monday, the family chat erupted. Aunt Karen sent praying emojis. My cousin asked, is this real? My mother called 5 times. I didn't answer. They weren't used to this version of me. The one who didn't explain, didn't apologize, didn't flinch. The woman who once begged for crumbs now held the recipe for the entire table, and I wasn't sharing. Then a voicemail from my future ex-sister-in-law. Tessa, I don't know your problem, but you ruined everything. You've been selfish. You embarrassed us. You're unstable. I replayed it twice. Not because it hurt, but because it proved something. Even when you give them diamonds, they'll call you heartless the moment you stop bowing. I forwarded it to my lawyer. Spike can show its teeth once you stop feeding it. Then, I did something no one expected. I booked the same ballroom, the one they tried to use, the one I canceled. But this time, it wasn't for a wedding. It was for a gala, for women who give too much and get too little. Theme, reclaim, rebuild, rise. Invitations went out to nonprofit leaders, social workers, teachers, artists. The women who, like me, once thought being needed meant being loved. I called the florist, peonies soft pink, but make them loud. I called the caterers, serve what you were preparing for the wedding, only better. When the event streamed online, guess who saw it first? My mother, my brother, her. Caption, when they cut you from the guest list, throw your own event and make healing the VIP. This celebration wasn't about rings or appearances. It was about choosing myself. The ballroom glowed in soft amber light. Strings played in the corner. Laughter, real laughter, filled the room. No stiff smiles, no rehearsed pleasantries. Women stood tall in dresses they bought for themselves, wearing stories they never had to shrink. At the center I stood, visible, not behind a clipboard, not behind a checkbook. Seen whole. A toast was called. I never liked microphones, but that night I didn't need one. I raised my glass. To the women who stayed silent too long. To the sisters who paid the bill and got left off the guest list. To the daughters who held the family together while it tore them apart. Tonight, we stopped asking to be invited. We built the room ourselves. Applause swelled. My hands weren't trembling. Then, in the far corner I saw them. My brother and mother, not in gowns or tuxes, but standing like ghosts of a party they never believed I'd host. Mom tried to approach, but staff gently blocked her. Private event, ma'am. I smiled. For once I was protected, not by a name, not by guilt, but by boundaries I built brick by brick. I watched them leave. No shouting, no drama, just the quiet end of a story that had dragged on too long. Later, I removed the ring and placed it in a velvet box, not out of regret, but remembrance. Whispered, thank you for everything I lost. And it made room for everything I gained. The night ended with slow music and soft light. No wedding, no cake, but more love than any of them ever offered. And that was enough.